Now, although many people love and appreciate our tribal chief, Roman wasn't always so great. So let's change that. Also, just a quick note before we begin, I've tried limiting Brock Lesnar's impact within the story as much as I can, so whenever I reference him from now, he will be referred to as redacted. And without any further ado,
let's do this.
We begin our story on the night the WWE landscape changed forever with one chair shot. Seth has betrayed his brothers the night after their bond seemingly couldn't break. And rather than have Roman being distant from his former brothers and competing in the vacant WWE title ladder match, he instead will be in the Money in the Bank ladder match alongside Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins and 3 other competitors. Roman and Dean would have a brotherly bond within this match as they continuously gang up on Seth Rollins and beat the holy hell out of him. The match would go down very similarly to real life, however instead of Kane, Triple H would assist Seth Rollins in becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, which leaves Roman and Dean enraged. Also, another quick note, John Cena would get screwed over by the Authority as Randy Orton would become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. However, Roman and Dean's rage carries over into the following Raw, where Dean is demanding for Seth to get out there whilst Roman is tearing ringside apart. They're looking for blood, and they get it, as Randy Orton, Kane, Triple H and Seth Rollins all take turns beating down Dean with a steel chair, and even put Roman through the announcer's table. They even beat down John Cena, and that's when Triple H makes it official. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose will take on Kane and Seth Rollins in a no disqualification tag match, but Seth doesn't look too happy about it. However, Dean and Roman, although still enraged, are also happy that they can get their hands on Seth Rollins once again. But they're banged up, the constant beatdowns leave Roman and Dean taped up, battered and bruised, yet they don't care. They keep on fighting, although on the Raw before Battleground, Seth Rollins is reported to have suffered an undisclosed injury, so he'd have to miss Battleground. Instead, Mark Henry would fill in his role with an added stipulation that if Roman and Dean won, they'd get a tag match with Seth and Triple H, no matter what state Seth is in at SummerSlam. So we're at Battleground and this is an all-out war. Roman is giving it his all against Mark Henry and Dean is slugging it out with Kane. Tables are broken, chairs are launched, and it's looking like Dean and Roman are starting to get on top, but they're worn down. They have nothing left. But then, Seth blindsides Dean Ambrose with a steel chair. His injury wasn't real. He just didn't want to be in the match. Seth then nails a stomp onto Dean and Kane picks up the win for the Authority. But Randy and Triple H are not happy with Rollins trying to get out of the match. This rage boils over to Randy Orton taking on John Cena, which would end in a double disqualification after Redacted gets involved. So after all this, Triple H decides on Raw that Seth will face Roman Reigns, who is barely able to compete, and if he loses, Seth Rollins will have to take on either Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam. And thanks to Redacted brawling with Randy Orton, Seth is distracted and is nailed with a spear, and by the skin of his teeth, Roman Reigns gets an opportunity for him or Ambrose to face Seth at SummerSlam. And due to Ambrose not getting a one-on-one match with Seth yet, Roman allows Dean to get his match. But where does this leave Roman? Well, we find out very quickly as Triple H launches an attack against Roman, and once again, he is put through the announcer's table as Roman has caused enough issues for the game as is. So at SummerSlam, Triple H and Roman Reigns open the show in a solid back and forth match. The crowd are behind Roman, and eventually, Roman gets on top and nails a spear to pick up the win. In addition, Redacted wins the WWE title and Seth just manages to sneak out with victory against the hurting Dean Ambrose. But on the night after Raw, Seth is celebrating with the Authority over his success, and Kane decides to bring out a bloodied Reigns. Roman is then hit with a barrage of moves and he is now off screen whilst he had an actual injury. This can lead to Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins having a non-stop war over the coming months. A steel cage match at Night of Champions, a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell, and a big 10-man tag at Survivor Series. This would continue to the Royal Rumble where Dean Ambrose is put in the #1 spot. And after almost 45 minutes, Dean is still in the match. Daniel Bryan has made his first appearance since vacating the WWE World Championship, and the Authority are running rampant in the match. But then, at number 30, Roman Reigns has made his long-awaited return to WWE, and he's a one-man wrecking crew. He eliminates Kane and Randy Orton, and we're down to the final four. Dean Ambrose, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, and Bray Wyatt. Ultimately, Seth comes down to the ring and screws Roman Reigns, who gets eliminated by Bray Wyatt. And in the end, after a very good Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan picks up the win after he eliminates Bray Wyatt as he'll go to the main event at WrestleMania 31 to face Redacted. But what about Roman Reigns? Well, we're on the Raw after the Rumble, and Reigns is in the ring cutting a promo for the first time. He's talking about his time away and how he spent it with his family, which brings out Ambrose, who's conflicted as on one hand he's glad Roman's back. However, Reigns did leave Ambrose to fight the war all by himself without checking in on him and leaving Ambrose high and dry as a professional and as a brother. Rollins then comes out and says that he wants this to end so they can move on, but at WrestleMania he challenges Roman and Dean to a triple threat match. They obviously accept on the spot, and on the road to WrestleMania, these three men are at war with each other. Reigns and Ambrose have drifted apart, so it'll be every man for themselves. But before WrestleMania, WWE make a pit stop at Fastlane in which Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose take on the Authority in a 6-man elimination tag team match. And due to Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose butting heads, Ambrose is distracted and immediately is rolled up by Rollins. Ambrose is furious, but he looks at Roman and he tells him to get the job done, and he leaves. Roman puts in a hell of a shift in this match as he eliminates Kane and Mark Henry. However, due to a distraction from Randy Orton, who doesn't turn face until the Raw after WrestleMania, Roman is nailed with a stomp and is eliminated. Although once again, Daniel Bryan picks up the victory for his team. Thus, the former Shield members continue to exchange words and actions in the ring, with no man having the advantage leading into the grandest stage in the Mall. And now it's time. Seth, Dean, Roman, the Shield triple threat match that everyone wanted to see. And it absolutely steals the show up to that point. Dean is beyond scrappy with both men, Seth is a slimy but competent and agile competitor, and Roman is showcasing his strength with huge power moves. Rollins nails Ambrose with a stomp, but then Roman pops up out of nowhere, and similar to that RKO spot, Rollins kicks Reigns, and as he's looking for a stomp, he gets launched into the air and speared out of his boots. And in the end, Roman Reigns overcomes his former brothers and picks up the win. But what is next for Roman Reigns?